Okay, we're in good shape there, hopefully. Okay, and we are live. Okay, and exactly on time right now.
How about that? How do we do that? We seem to always do that. You know, hi everybody from Galveston Island, where it's really hot, humid, and air conditioning and ceiling fans are running. It's still summer here, and will be for a while. Um, you know, when Judy and I were sailing around the world, we would talk to other sailors about sails. We had owned a sailboat before, but we didn't really consider ourselves knowledgeable about all of the different sailcloths, all of the different constructions, and all of the different options. And generally, what we found out when we talked to people was we found out what they bought. And, you know, as sailors, one of the rules that's absolutely true, whether it's an anchor or a sail or whatever, whatever we buy, we tend to defend, right? Because we defend our decisions. So we didn't really learn a lot over the years. We didn't really know for sure what we wanted to buy 8 years ago, and that's actually when I met Emrah Oge. Emrah is the son of Tassin Oge, and Tassin founded QSails about 32 years ago. And Judy and I met Tassin in Turkey, met Tassin's wife, and of course met Emrah, met the gang at QSails. And we really liked the family. The family had a lot of experience in building and making sails. And actually, it was the largest sail loft that we had ever seen in the world. It's right in Izmir, Turkey. For many years, and unknown to most people, the company that Tassin owned produced sails for some big brand names like North Sails, like Hood. Those large companies went to Tassin, who had a very efficient, high quality manufacturing facility with low cost labor, and went to him to be able to get out of the direct manufacturing business and use low cost labor. So QSails was North Sails, QSails was Hood Sails, or the other way around. He and I had plenty of time to talk when I met him, and he explained his vision of branching out with his own brand name. And at that time that I met him, he said, what I think I'm going to call it is QSails. Judy and I toured the huge sail-making loft. We talked to people on sewing machines, on cutting tables. We met wives and sons. We spent most of the day with them. And by the end of the day, we ordered a new set of 3 sails for our Super Maramoo, and a tri-radial construction and made of German dimension polyent hydronet. There were some other things that we put into the sails, like on the head sails, we wanted foam on the luff so that it would actually furl better, and especially when trimming the head sail. We wanted to be sure that there was high quality UV thread and the best quality from Sunbrella and so forth and so on. So we did that, and we came up with the sails. A few months later, I asked QSails if they would offer special pricing to all Amel owners. I told them that I'll communicate to the Amel owners if they do, because I was really impressed with the quality. The quality was outstanding. And Tossin said yes, and this resulted in a joint effort by myself and QSails to offer some pretty great sails to Amel owners at very special pricing. But again, because of the mystery that I explained earlier, and what do you buy? I decided that it would be a good idea to offer 3 basic packages of sails: good, better, best. Simple, right? Good sails, better sails, best sails. And we did. And even the least expensive, the good category, had some features included, like sailcloth from the German Dimension Polyent sailcloth maker, UV thread, Tenera UV thread, UV panels of Sunbrella, and foam luff head sails. All of that was in the bottom quality called good, right? And then we had a step-up quality called better, and then the best quality called best, which included hydronet in a tri-radial construction. Now, actually, the middle quality that we put together is slightly better than the standard sails that Amel offered on a Super Maramoo. So the sailcloth is better, the construction is the same in a tri-radial construction. And Emrah is going to get into all of that in his presentation. I'm just trying to lay the groundwork for it. So I also negotiated with Emrah's father, and then later with Emrah, some special pricing for all Amel owners. Now, when my clients have bought sails from Emrah, and a lot of them have, well over 50 of my clients have, they of course do the right thing. They check prices with other people, and they have all found that the pricing from QSails offers Amel owners to be significantly less. QSails has delivered sails around the world in weeks rather than months. It's amazing what they can do. They have sold so many sails to Amel Super Maramoo owners and Amel 54 owners that they're actually pre-producing the sails, okay? They have building up a little bit of inventory so they can get it out faster. So it's my pleasure to introduce Emrah Oge. He's a second generation owner manager of QSails in Izmir, Turkey. QSails is a 32-year-old sail making company. Emrah, it's your show. Hi.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you all for joining this meeting. Really appreciate it. I would like to summarize our company's history with a video. I'm a beginner in Zoom. Just a minute.
Good.
Is that okay, Tilo, now?
I can see it.
Okay. QSails was established in 1988 in Izmir, located at west coast of Turkey, starting with a couple of machines and stuff. Now we have reached to 35,000 square meter production capacity annually, with a team of 25 employees. Our production consists of Dimension Polyant from Germany and Contender sailcloth from Holland. We have the ability to offer reasonable prices with the advantage of low labor cost, high volume, additional discounts from the cloth manufacturers. We are offering 3 different sailcloth types for Amel Yachts. AP Dacron is good one, is used for crosscut constructions. It is the best for that type of designs, I mean the crosscut sails. Epidacron is one of the best and soft-ended fabric in the market. For three-radial construction, we offer ProRadial and HydroNet. They are the best for the task. All three sailcloth come from Dimension Poland, Germany, which is the leading sailcloth manufacturer in sailmaking market. I recommend three-radial construction sails for Amel yachts, as most of these yachts are cruising long passages or circumnavigation, where the primary concern is the durability and the shape holding capability of the sails under harsh weather conditions. Main advantage of two-radial sails is their oriented panels in accordance with the primary loads coming from the corners of the sail. We also improve the total weight of each sail by using step-up construction. Heavier cloth on high load pads, lighter fabric on the areas which has less stress and loading. ProRadial and HydroNet has very similar weaving technique. The major difference is the Dyneema Spectra fibers oriented in warp direction, which brings an impeccable performance to HydroNet. I personally do not suggest laminated sailcloth, since poor resistance against mildew has been seen very often, especially in tropical climate or similar environment. Moreover, wear and tear resistance is incomparable with woven sailcloths. Sambrella fabric and Tenara thread are used for the UV protection areas, as Sambrella has 10 years limited warranty with 20 different color alternatives, while Tenara is offering 15 years of limited warranty. These are the most resistant materials that can be used on Amel sails. We also have a graphic service. Requested graphic applications can also be made upon request onto the sails. We would just need the image or the logo in vector graphics format. Let me give you some information about design process. QSails has been in the market for 32 years. That's why we have quite an extensive design library. We have particularly focused on Amel sails for almost 10 years. We have optimized the mold shape, the design of the sails in many aspects throughout these years. We have around 75 Amel owner clients worldwide at the moment, without any complaint about their sails. I'm receiving very positive feedbacks, and I'm sure they all speak well about QSails. Let me point on the shipment process. We are delivering the sails with very strong and hard cartoon boxes. I just witnessed a damaged box delivery issue once. UPS did not take the responsibility at that time, as the damage was not identified by the receiver at the time of the delivery. Anyway, we will be delivering a new sail to this client. We work with UPS, FedEx, TNT, and DHL for the mainland deliveries. We have different partners, the forwarders, for the deliveries to islands and small countries at the Pacific, like Fiji, Tahiti, Hawaii. All shipments are covered with full amount insurance. To be honest, we have had some import and export difficulties caused by the forwarders lately, probably because of COVID-19, lack of working staff at offices, and so on. But in general, it goes rather smoothly. We are offering 5 years unlimited warranty for all of our sails. And finally, I have good news. I would be happy to offer 5% discount to the attendance of this Zoom meeting, which is valid until the end of 2020. Thank you for listening. Very appreciated.
That was great.
Okay, Emrah, you just need to stop your sharing now. There we
I also want to show you some graphics about each fabric.
Great. Yeah, please do.
Mhm. This is the graphic of AP
Yeah,
Dacron.
let me jump in here. Remember, guys, I said that we came up with good, better, best. He is starting with the good category, which is the least expensive of the three, good, better, best. Okay, go ahead.
And this is for the Pro Radial.
That's
As
the
you-
better.
And the Hydronet.
And of course, that's the best.
Yeah.
Emrah, could you explain, for instance, I mean, I know that on the Dacron, it said that for instance, the ability to retain shape is 6 versus this is 9. Could you elaborate on what that means in real terms? You know, how this will affect the wear and what kind of shape distortion one might see.
I mean by shape, the shape of the sail, the mold. Hydronet has the ability to retain its shape. Let's say first day performance. I have clients using Hydronet sails since 9 years, 10 years, without any distortion on the shape. Yes, the sail is not wide enough, but shape is still, so the performance is still the same as the first day.
Yeah, and let me jump into and give another answer to that same question. Performance tends to go away with sails as fabric begins to stretch. I've always referred to a sail shape. As the sail gets older, it gets a belly in the sail. Okay, it's not as flat as it once was. It's got a belly or a bulge in the sail. And the Hydronet almost doesn't change at all. I know the sails on my Amel, or the one I sold, DB number 387, those sails are 8 or 9 years old. And I was talking to the owner, Dan Carlson, who said that he hasn't noticed any change at all. So that's at 8 or 9 years. It's amazing. Now, what will happen in that 10-year period is you're probably going to have to do some maintenance on the UV cloth because it probably is not going to last 10 years, but certainly the Hydronet sailcloth will. Now, getting back to the bottom quality, the good, that Dacron sailcloth will probably last 10 years, 8 or 10 years, and potentially even longer. But the propulsion that you get out of the sail will be a lot less because the sail cannot retain its shape, and its shape is what gives you the power that propels you. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to jump in and say that I'm certainly no expert. And back to you, Emrah.
You are perfect. That was all I wanted to explain.
Okay.
John also had a question asking about if you're seeing that Amel 54 owners, are any of those experiencing issues with battens and the mainsail furling?
Yeah.
Let me jump in. I wasn't going to do it. All right. This is a piece of a Batten from an Amel 54, and this is another piece of the same Batten, and I can probably even show you on the camera. I think you can probably read Amel 54, right? Okay, so not only was it the end of the Batten broken off, but the Batten was split. And this Batten on the Amel 54 is not the original Batten that Amel used. Amel used a 25 millimeter Batten, and somewhere, sometime, it was changed to this Batten, which is half the size. The issue is that as the sail is furled and unfurled, if you're not exactly careful and correct in doing it the right way, you're going to have a problem. Now, I can tell you the last 6 sails, 6 of them on a Mel 54 mainsail that I have dropped, all had twisted, and not all of them were broken, but many of them twisted to where the Batten actually took a 90-degree set. All right. You've all seen some of the foil damage on an Amel 54 where the foil meets up with a furling box. You know, that is caused by battens at the top jamming. Now, look, I know Amel 54 owners that can furl and unfurl the sail and never have a jam. Works every time for them. And they make up maybe 10 or 20% of Amel 54 owners, but clearly 70 or 80% are going to have a problem sometime. Now, the worst time to have a jamming problem up there is when you're in heavy weather. And I've got a photograph. If Emrah will take down his, I'll see if I can get to a photograph right here. Just a second that I'll put up. I just want to show you what an Amel 54 owner had to do recently. Just 1 minute, see if I can get to it.
Well, given the high rate of or the difficulty level of furling the mainsail, is it still necessary or prudent to have the battens in there? Or I know some people are discussing getting new sails without battens.
Yeah, I'll give you a comment on it. I just want to show you this photograph. There's a Mel 54 owner who could not furl his mainsail because the foil actually split in half. So the furling foil split in half because the battens at the top jammed the mainsail. He was out at sea, and I told him he did a really good job. I crewed on a tall ship, and it was a bark, and the back sail on the bark was always furled against the mizzen mast. And this is what it looked like on the tall ship that I crewed with. So I told him he did a really good job of getting that sail in, but he had some problems. And because that foil split, he couldn't get the bottom of the sail out. I don't know, I wasn't there. We can all criticize something that happens, but unless you're there, you just don't know. Now, I've had a nice conversation with some people I respect. Olivier Botte, said that backwards. Olivier Botte, and some other people, other sail makers. And the truth of it is, you really don't get, you get fractional performance increase with battens. And my point is, you can sure criticize me on it, but my point is, if you're going to do some world traveling and get in heavy weather, you're fooling yourself to think that battens are smart, because they are not. They are not smart in heavy weather. You're just going to have some problems, and you don't need to take that kind of risk. So I happen to be, most of you know that I'm very anti-batten, but it's true. You know, this is true stuff. And until you drop your mainsail and inspect the battens, you don't know what's up there. My guess is you're going to find at least half of them twisted, some of them broken.
Bill, can I ask a question?
And yeah, go ahead. Somebody's talking. Who?
It's Arno.
Oh,
Furling.
hi.
I would like to personally to hear what Emrah has to say about it. But before he starts answering this question, what I don't understand, because I have some questions about these battens as well. But the reality is, if you now look at brands like Hallberg Rossi, they actually by standard deliver you full battened mainsails with in-mast furling. So if it is such a bad solution, why are they doing this? That would be my question.
Can
Well,
I give an answer, please?
who?
Me,
Who's
Emrah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Emrah
Oh,
would
yeah.
like to fill in here.
Hallberg Razi yachts are using Selden masts, and Selden masts has bigger furling compartment inside, very big, when compared with Amel yachts. That's why they are using full-length battens without any problem. Not without any problem, but less problem, let's say. There is no possibility of jamming. But yes, we see broken battens in Hallberg Razi yachts.
Yeah.
Okay, one other question, sorry if I may. What about using, how do you call that? Round battens instead of flat battens? Would that be a solution?
If I would say, if you're going to use a batten, to use a round batten. That's what I would say. I don't know, but Emrah knows. Emrah's the expert. What do you say, Emrah?
Round battens seems with less problems, but I wanted to say that the leech battens, I mean the short ones, is not the main concern. We are also using 20-25 millimeters. I think round battens will be creating the 8-figure problem. How do you call it in English?
The twisting, you mean?
Will be
the twisting.
Twisting,
Yeah,
yes.
a torsion, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
More intended to be twisted. We stick on the original standards of Amel, so it's up to the client actually. Sometimes, yes, we are delivering without battens, but most of the time, especially on Amel 54s, we are delivering with battens.
Yeah, if I may, I have one remark about this. For me, it feels like, well, you know, maybe you're not aware, but I'm one of your customers because I have a few sales on order at your company at the moment.
I know you, yeah.
Good, thank you. My feeling is one of the reasons I ordered new sales is because looking at the leech, I think it's called, of my mainsail, I can see it is actually, despite being Hydra net, it doesn't look very clean anymore in the sense of it's getting old. And my guess is it's particularly getting old because it has been most of its time furled into the mast, and that sort of creates a tension in the cloth as well. What I feel is that somehow, because the leech is not tight anymore, it actually brings more problems to the battens when furling or unfurling, because I do have some furling problems with battens. That is true.
That is why we are using two part of tapes on the leech of the main sails, and these tapes are Spectra hydronet.
Okay.
Let me
Very much resistant against
twisting and stretching.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
And also on the food side, there are step up to how do you say two tapes, you know, stronger. But especially on lead side, we also have, just a minute. This is for the Maramus, but just a minute. We also put some additional reinforcements here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
For the section joints. And additionally, there's a second tape comes along this side, and this is Spectra.
Okay.
Same on the Genoa. There are reef patches, double tapes, and Spectra loft tape, just to avoid the stretch throughout these years.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't want to hijack the meeting, but I have one other question, if I may. And that is actually something I've been discussing with Bill Rouse as well. I am really intrigued about the change in the setup of the furling system on the new Amel 60 compared to the previous Amels. Basically, what I don't understand is they changed, they went from the way it works on the 54 and the 53 in a more of a Seldine system where you have a sort of running block on top of the boom. Do you have any thoughts about that? Because I don't really understand why they changed that.
Actually,
who are you asking, Arno? Who's your question for?
The sailmaker. He might be the one most enlightened in this area, because I'm sure not.
Well, we have at least one Amel 50 owner here
60,
that might want to comment.
Yeah, but it's only on the 60.
Matt, do you want to comment, or did you understand what he was talking about? You gotta unmute your you gotta unmute there.
Got it.
Here.
I do understand, and I have been sailing with a 60. Amazingly enough, we've been buddy boating along the past couple of months, and they do have a block on the end of the clew. I don't have that, so they're different. The 50 and the 60 are different.
Yes, so me, it's intriguing to understand why is this? Why did Amel change that? Because their current setup, so the one they use on the 60, is basically the same as what Seldane has been using for many, many years. And I'm just wondering why.
To reduce the loads on the boom end, it might be the reason. You know, it is a purchase system.
Yeah.
I was also a Selden dealer for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the reason.
Okay.
Especially on 60s, Amel 60s.
Yeah, because
so it'd be 2-to-1 purchase, right? by using that block on the
2-1.
clue of the sail. And a 2-to-1 purchase means that the
Almost.
force needed to move the sail, or to outhaul the sail, or to move the car is half that without the block on the clue. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
that
but there-
maybe answer your question? And
Well-
that's probably also the reason that the 60 has a block on the clue and the 50 doesn't. There's a lot more sail on the 60, maybe,
Yeah,
right?
maybe there are actually two blocks, because there's also a sliding block at halfway the boom that runs to the back as well. And I'm just wondering, this is the Salvin system, and I just don't understand why they are using that mechanism, and why Amel, let's say for the smaller ones, if you want to call it like that, have basically a running outhole that just is one thing.
Well, of course, one thing we have to remember is a sloop has much more sail area, the mainsail, than a ketch does. So it's going to require either more power or more leverage to move the sail, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So
But they also use it on 30 footers. That's why I'm just trying to understand why the change in mechanism for Amel, because at the same time, what I've concluded, inside the boom of a 60, there must be a hydraulic cylinder that pushes out the outhole, because that's the only way it can work.
I don't know. Do you know, Matt, whether it's hydraulic or electric? Got to push your unmute.
Okay, I believe it's electric. I can find out, but I
Okay.
believe it's electric.
All right.
Do you think it could be to help when it's furling, the clue to go up during the furling? It would be easier for the clue to go back up.
Actually, you are basically saying what I've been thinking, but I wanted to get other people's opinion about it. That's why I didn't say it, because I think it has to do with the way the whole mid block running on the boom has something to do with having an easier way to get the clue up when it's furling, meaning that your, what's it called, the lower side of the sail rolls up, let's say, slightly going up.
The foot of the sail goes up easier.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. All right, well.
Okay. Yeah, so just to follow up on the question, talking about whether or not to have battens in the main, Emrah, if you're preparing a mainsail that for somebody who requests it without a main, do you change the cut of the sail?
We changed the leech shape of the sail, yes. There's a slightly, let's say, 1.5 square meters. There's a roach on the Batten version. And without Batten, yes, there will be a change on the leech side.
Okay, so you're reducing the sail area by roughly 1.5 square meters.
Yes.
Do you think having short battens is a sort of a mid-course to that?
Short battens means? I didn't remember.
Four instead of the normal number.
Yeah, and being shorter, I mean, not full batten all the way from top to down.
No, let me show you just a minute, please.
The question is, do you think that having short battens alleviates some of the problems you can have when you have the full batten that goes all the way down?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. It's a sort of a compromise between the two.
This is the mainsail of the Amel 54. These are the short battens. We call them leech battens. Actually, I didn't hear any complaint about our delivered sails, but I'm not sure.
I had a couple of comments that I wanted to make because I have had my sails without battens when I got the boat. They were brand new sails that were bought by the previous owner. And then I had sails made with battens by the same company in Florida that made the batten sails for Delos. And I talked to Delos and I talked to them, and they made these battens for me. My experience before I went to the batten sail was that once a sail has been worn out, it begins to do weird things on the top when the leash, when you're furling it, and you can have troubles furling it. So it's not like it's the batten. In fact, what I have noticed is if you have the battens properly designed so that they go horizontally, vertically, and they are in parallel with the mast, they prevent some of the twisting that can occur on the top of the sail when you're furling that sail and you're not exactly with the wind from the side, but let's say you have low wind or wind from behind. Sometimes your sail can twist and it can go in. The battens prevent that from happening. So in that sense, the proper battens will work fine. Now, when I got my sails from the sail maker, whose name I don't want to repeat, the battens were off and they were coming in at the wrong angle against the mast. And so they were, of course, twisting themselves as they went inside. I took pictures of it. I sent them to them back and they corrected the problem. And since then, I have not had the problem. So I imagine it's a matter of proper design of these battens so that they take into account, and it's not a simple thing because once you start furling the main, the forces are such that you can actually furl it more on the bottom or on the top. So we still have some issues there. But if they are in the more or less proper shape and place, they will go in parallel to the mast and they will have no problem. That was number one. The number two issue that I realized, I was crossing the Gulf Stream coming in from Boston towards Antigua. And when I arrived to Antigua, I found one of my battens on the deck. I had been told before by North, when I've had a different boat, that you should always tie your battens with lines so that they won't come off when you're crossing the Gulf Stream. And I didn't do that. And so, yes, the battens came off, and that was what I found. So the two things I wanted to say is for heavy weather, the battens have to be tied to the sail, so there's no way they can come out. And if the battens are properly designed and they go parallel to the mast, I think that they give you better performance, particularly when you're actually furling your main in low wind conditions, than if you don't have the battens, because the battens prevent them from curling on themselves. And by the way, one more thing. I had a Turkish friend of mine who had a boat next to me that buy your sails, and he swears for them. And he's got a Hansa 47, beautiful sails that you made. And so I completely agree with Bill that you make really great sails.
Okay, great. Courtney had a question. She's got a 54 and it's hull number 101. And she said that she believes she has the original sails and the mainsail does not have battens, but the mizzen does. To your knowledge, was this part of the early construction of the 54?
No, his mainsail probably was changed because both the main and the mizzen had battens.
Good. Okay, so yeah, that's good. I don't see any other questions in the forum, and if anybody else has any questions.
I have a comment. I have new sales, a new main and a new mission from Emrah since 3 weeks, and I'm very happy because I have Supermar on the Moon number 3, and in some cases it's a kind of a prototype, and I was so happy that everything fit perfectly. The shape is wonderful. So Emrah, thank you very, very much.
My
And I
pleasure.
can recommend QSails for everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've got something I want to share, a screen I want to share with everybody, because we went through all of this pretty fast. What I've got here is a summary of the good, better, best. Starting with the best, Hydronet tri-radial cut with UVI technology, tri-radial cut Hydronet from Dimension Polyant. And this is the same graphic that Emrah showed you in terms of durability, the durability graphic. The better, the one in the middle, right? It's tri-radial cut pro radial, which Emrah, tell me what is in the pro radial in addition to Dacron. There's another fiber in there. What is it?
Actually, fibers are almost similar, but the weaving technique is completely different when compared with AP Dacron. Pro radial is more like Hydronet. There is only one difference, that Hydronet has Spectra and Dyneema fibers in warp direction. That is the main difference between Pro radial and Hydronet.
Okay, all right. And then the good crosscut AP Dacron. This is going to be like most of the sails that Doyle Sails sells. Crosscut meaning large pieces of sailcloth going across the sail, not a tri-radial cut and sew construction. And the difference in price from the bottom to the top, from good to best, it's not double, okay, from good to Hydronet, but it's close to that. There is a big difference from the bottom to the top. And sales for a Super Maramoo in euros could be in the 6,000 or 7,000 euro range at the bottom, 6,000 euro range at the bottom, and 10, 11,000 euro range at the top, Hydronet. So there's a big difference in price. But one of the things we did is we negotiated with QSails to give everybody a pretty good price. And I challenge you to check the prices. Nobody that I know of has been able to match or beat the prices for the same quality. So anyway, I wanted to throw this up there so that you had a little bit better information. The other thing that we ought to do, Emrah, is you should give everybody your email address and phone address so that they can contact you.
I was just planning to show you a photo.
Maybe I have that.
Yeah, my email address is.
So here I'm putting your email address in the chat. So I've just put the email in the chat there.
Okay, good.
Okay. Actually, Courtney has a question that was sort of in my line of thinking too, is that how would in general, comparing smooth bottom and smooth bottom, if you had if you've got a set of new sails in the good versus in the best, 2 years out, how do you think this would affect the overall boat performance or boat speed?
In 2 years, there will be no significant difference. But yes, from 3, 4, 5 years, there will be quite big differences.
Okay, so if somebody were planning on, setting out to do a leisurely round the world cruise, then by the end of that, as they were sort of heading up from up the African coast, I take it they would be feeling a bit more sluggish if they were with just the Dacron sails. Is that the opinion there?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Actually, John has a question about if he were to want, or if somebody were to want sails delivered in January to Antigua, when would they need to get the order in?
In November, let's say. November.
Okay.
To Antigua, it will take, we should consider additional 5 or 6 days during this pandemic times. We are having serious problems, serious delays. So let's stick into November.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas,
Okay.
there will be more or less, yes.
Yes. And Dennis, did you have a question for Emrah?
Yes, I was writing in. Have you experienced using sailcoat on the whole sail to improve furling?
Am I experienced the sailcoat or
Yes, it's a sort of a spray, silicone
I know.
spray.
Okay, I know. Yeah, we used to use that chemical 8 years ago once, but I've never experienced again.
Okay.
Because there are some problems on the import side. It is a special chemical. My company cannot import that type of chemicals. That's why I'm not using it now.
Okay, I think it's mostly a Teflon. What I've understood is that on some super yachts that have in-mast furling, they use it because it helps the sail slip on itself when it's furling. That way, it's more compact in the mast.
If I may comment on this, sailcoat is indeed a dusty version of PFTE, basically Teflon. And if I can tell you, if you want to use it on your sail, then you should bring out the box, because that makes it extremely expensive. I'm not sure if you know what the canister of this stuff costs, but I don't think you want to use it on your complete sail.
I've seen a company in Barcelona that does super yacht sails. And in fact, when they winterize it, they spray the whole sail in their loft and then reinstall it.
Yeah, well, I don't have a super yacht. Maybe that's the difference.
Exactly, it's not the same cost.
Well, you may not have a super yacht, Arno, but you are a super owner of a yacht.
Thank you very much. Doing my best.
I had a comment about the hydronet. My Genoa was made by the sail maker in the area of Boston about 10 years ago with hydronet and tri-radial, and I still have it, and it's still in perfect shape 10 years later. So that really tells you that.
That's it. If you plan on owning your Amel for 10 years, then it's crazy not to get hydronet. And if you're only going to own it a few years, then you're crazy to get hydronet, right?
Thank you.
What
That's the
about
reason we have good, better, best.
Well, I would like to make a comment on this because my problem with sails losing their shape, because this question came up just now, how much speed difference do you get from it? For me, the biggest problem with what they call baggy sails is not so much the speed difference, it's the heeling angles you get.
Healing angles, yes.
That's what really pisses me off. If you have bad sails, you just get heel, which is annoying, and you don't get speed. My previous boat, I used to have, what was it, laminates from, cruising laminates from, what's it called?
DCX.
No, they had a sail make, they made their sails in South Africa. Quantum sails.
Quantum.
And I must say the difference between having darkroom, standard darkroom, and laminates is amazing. Because first of all, you get, it makes sailing in a way a bit more rough because your sails don't, how do you say, they lose sort of flexibility, meaning that every gust is really felt on your boat. But at the same time, your acceleration improves, your heeling angle gets better. So I was really fond of having laminate sails. Talking to several people, I did understand that laminate sails in the tropics is basically begging for trouble. You should not do that. So I'm pretty happy that even Amel themselves, by default, chose HydraNet because I'm pretty convinced HydraNet is the best option for blue water cruising. And one of our very silent participants on this meeting, being Teun, has something to say, I think, about that. Because when he bought the boat, he had laminates. And I think, Teun, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you got about 800 miles out of them. And then they started to delaminate. And it is actually Emrah as well that supplied Teun with new sails. And I think Teun is very happy with them. So I think to come back to your original remark, Bill, about if you're only going to plan to keep your Amel for 3 years, first, I think you're funny because buying such a boat for only 3 years sounds strange to me. But at the same time, these HydraNet sails are so much more comfortable when sailing. And that's not only about speed. For me, it's more it's more the healing aspect than anything else. Just the comfort that these sails bring.
I understand, and Emrah will tell you that Judy and I bought HydraNet and only owned the boat 3 or 4 more years after that. So I understand completely, but you know there are reasons to have these choices, and those reasons are different for different people.
Given the longevity of HydraNet, do you think that has a does that have an influence on sales price subsequently?
Well, I'm going to tell you there's a number of things that don't seem to have a lot of weight on the selling price. Generally speaking, Amel's sell for the average price within a model and year. And the ones that are in the best condition sell the fastest. So if HydraNet is part of it being in the best condition, it'll certainly sell faster. But it all depends on whether or not the buyer is actually going to understand the benefits and the difference between HydraNet. In my experience, you know, I do a lot of pre-purchase reviews for potential Amel buyers. And in my experience, less than half really understand the value of hydronet. But there's a lot of reasons why an owner might step up and buy hydronet, even if he is going to be selling the boat in less than 5 years. I certainly was one of those people. So I don't think that directly answers your question, but the general answer is probably not a significant difference in selling price because you have hydronet sales.
Okay. So yes, a couple of people have asked about Code 0 and Code Ds. And Emrah, I know you've said that you're working on those. Can you elaborate on that?
We have delivered only one Code D sail until now to Amels and one Code 0. That's why we decided to focus on the designs of these sails in these days, and we will be able to give more information in coming weeks. Let's say we will also keep their stock as well, like the ballooners and the other ones, the pro radial sails.
Can I interrupt? What's a Code D? I know Code 0, but Code D?
Code D has a different wind range. Let me find the visual. Sorry, it will take a couple of minutes.
Okay. While you're working on that, there's another interesting question. Again, getting back to hydronet, and JB says that yes, it's clear that on the Genoa and the Main it makes a lot of sense. But what about the mizzen? Is hydronet really that important or valuable for the mizzen?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
While you're finding your graphic, I'll answer the question if you want me to. My experience is no, it's not going to make any difference on a Super Maramoo. Now, if we're talking about a 55, I think yes, it will make a difference. But on a Super Maramoo or a 54, it's probably not going to make a lot of difference. So why did I buy hydronet for the mizzen? Well, I just wanted them all to look that good. So there wasn't, the mizzen is much smaller, and there really wasn't that much difference in the price from pro radial to hydronet for the mizzen. So I did, and I think that most owners would probably do the same thing. Did you find your graphic, Emrah?
Yeah, I found the design. Just on it. This is the Code D. You can use the Code D between 60 and 125 degrees in apparent wind. Oops. That is the Code D.
Okay.
I have a question. What's the wind range for a Code 0?
Between 45 degrees and 90.
And what about velocity, wind velocities?
For the Code 0, up to 16, 18 knots. Code D is less because the fabric is lighter and the shape is completely different.
Okay.
Sorry, no. So how does, I'm not completely sure. How does a code D relate to a typical Jenniker?
Very similar. They have very similar shape, but code D has a straight luff, so you will be able to furl easily, and there's a bit of better upwind capability
Yeah, so you can
when you compare with Jenniker.
you can keep sailing at higher angle, yeah, smaller angles.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and I know that code zeros usually come with a furler for the bowsprit. Is that also with code D?
Yes, exactly. There are two different furler types. One is top-down furlers, which we are using for the code Ds and the Jennikers and the asymmetrics sometimes. And there are some, the other one is a code zero furler. It is not a top-down furler. We are also applying these kind of furlers with anti-torsion cable. But prices are coming quite high in Turkey. I'm not sure we are still competitive. I'm not sure.
Is that because of these anti-torsi line, or is it because of the mechanism that the prices are coming up?
No, the distributors are not keeping any stock in Turkey lately. So when you order a furler, you have to wait around 2 months and with some additional costs. But I am importing them from Sweden and from France. But I am not sure if we are competitive enough on furlers.
No. Yeah, we have a is that Faknor, I think, what Amel supplies on the 54. I think it's Faknor.
Faknor, it should be Faknor, yes.
And it's a top-down furler.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Jenniker as well, originally from Amel. But to be honest, I've never tried it yet. Didn't come around to it.
But it should be without anti-torsion, right?
I'm completely sure. It might be, but I forgot, to be honest. And my boat is 800 kilometers in the south, so it's a bit hard to look at it for the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so so with the code zero compared to the Genoa, is that in lighter winds, does that really increase performance, or does it just prevent the Genoa from slogging?
Yeah, the code zero improves the performance in light weathers for sure. Yes. That is the main purpose.
Okay, so good. Do we have any other questions that we've got? Any final question for Emrah?
Well, I have one question. Does he already have a plan for my new sails to be sent over to St. Martin, or is he still waiting for whatever?
Your sails will be ready first week of October.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
As far as I remember, your delivery time was in end of November. I'm not sure.
Mid-November, basically.
Mid-November, okay.
What needs to happen, I need to get my boat back, and getting bloody Corona, that on itself is a challenge already. Because there's absolutely no flight between St. Martin and Curaçao anymore at the moment. So the way it looks now, I have to fly via the Netherlands to get from St. Martin to Curaçao, which is amazingly stupid, because normally that's a flight of 2 hours, and now it becomes a flight of 20 hours. Anyway, but that's what I need to do. I need to get my boat back in November before I can do anything with a new sail. Oh, well.
Okay, well, great. So Bill, I think you've got some closing comments.
Yeah, I want to thank Emrah a lot for being here. Say hello to your dad and mom for me.
Thank you.
we don't have a Zoom meeting scheduled for next month. And I'd like to hear from any of you. Send me an email regarding subjects that you would like to cover to invite a guest speaker in. So I've gone through, I think, all of the original suggestions that had suggestions from 2 or more people. So if you have some ideas, send me an email and I'll try and get in touch with somebody and make it happen. So any ideas at all would be appreciated. And again, thank everybody for attending. It's fun. It's fun to see you, even you, Matt and Cindy, especially Arno and everybody else. It's really, really, really great to see you. This is so enjoyable. And Emrah, thank you for all of the information. And also, thank you so much for taking care of Amel owners. You know, I know you've had some challenges in shipping with UPS and FedEx and
I have
all
one
those
final
things.
question for Emrah. Sorry, but this nice video he showed, is that one available on YouTube or anything?
Not yet. There are still some improvements has to be done, and there will be some more additions because we are expanding the production right now. There's a new facility behind our existing loft. When it's all finished, yes, we will put it into YouTube.
Well, the reason I ask is because I have a few friends, but and of those friends, a few of them actually sailing, and I'm sure they are interested in, let's say, looking at your sail loft to get sails from, because you are very competitive, and it would be great to basically point them to a video to show who and what you are.
I will work on that. I agree with you.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, Tilo, it's up to you.
Okay, well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us for this evening's event. And we certainly look forward to having many more like this. This is a really enlightening experience. All of these ones have been. Thank you very much, Emrah, for your working on this. I really appreciated working with you and I enjoyed that. And Bill, as always, thanks a lot for all of the work that you've done in setting this up and putting it together. So we really appreciate that. And we will let you know when we get the next meeting set up. As soon as we do, we'll get that on the schedule and I will be more than happy to see you all at that time.
Bye.
Okay, so everybody have a very good day and a good evening wherever you are.
Thanks, and thank you to everyone else organized this.
Thank you very much for the appreciation. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.